Hello, we are Carla, Tania and Judit. We have done our Erasmus in Graz, the second biggest city of Austria. There we met a lot of people, and it has become one of the best experiences of our lives. Graz is the capital of Styria. It has a small city center. The city is divided by a river called Mur, and it's full of tram and bike lanes. In 2003, Graz was named European Capital of Culture. It became an important city in terms of design, art and architecture. It offers buildings from contemporary art, like an alien structure as a modern art gallery, the Kunsthaus, to chapels and baroque places all around the city.
Once we arrived in Graz, we noticed that many citizens use the bike in their daily routine as their means of transport to get from one place to another. We also realized that there were many facilities for people who use the bicycle, such as many bike lanes well connected throughout the city. As we came from the city of Lleida, we were extremely shocked about the role of the bikes in the city.
After taking into account different aspects and setting out some objectives that we want to tackle in our project, we decided that the big question that would guide our research would be the following. Which role have the bikes on the daily life of Graz citizens? As we went deeper into the project, we set some main objectives that we wanted to solve with the help of different methodologies, such as interviews, observation, official data, surveys.
The first thing we did after formulating our objectives was a survey. This was intended for the people from Graz. We sent the link of the survey to some people and also went to the city center to ask some citizens if they could answer it. The questions were related with different topics such as the use of the bike, alimentation, socio-economic level, Graz facilities to use the bike, and so on.
With some of the answers, our observation, and opinions from people interviewed by us, we could confirm what we thought. The socioeconomic level of the people has no relation with the use of bikes.
Many students go by bike because it's cheap. Cheap food is not always healthy. So I'm not sure. I think many people who go by bike really think about their diet, so they try to have a healthy life. Many do it because it's comfortable and you're fast. But I think it goes together, yeah.
Okay.
People try to stay healthy, so they would take care of diet and going by bike. Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a connection.
Okay.
Because some people just use the bike for very little, for routes, I don't know, small routes. And they use it because they are lazy to go by tram. And they don't like other people, so they don't go by tram. So it's but not about the diet.
Some questions of the survey allow us to compare the healthy habits between people using bike and people that do not use it. In order to analyze the information from the survey, we have created some graphics. In the first graphic, we can see that the 50% of people who not use bike eat fruits and vegetables only 1 or 2 times per week. In the second graphic, the opposite happened. The 50% of people who use bike eat more than 5 times per week fruits and vegetables. In the third graphic, we can see that the highest rate is for those people who not use bike and eat between 3 and 5 times per week fat food.
The lowest rate is for that people who use bike and eat fat food more than 5 times per week. We searched some information about which are the main nutrients of the different food groups. People who use bike have a diet richer in vitamins, fiber and carbohydrates. People who don't use bike have a diet richer in lipids, carbohydrates, fats and proteins. After analyzing the graphics and investigate the different nutrients of the food, we reached the conclusion that people who use bike as their main way of transport eat more healthy than people who don't use bike.
We wanted to investigate what Graz offers to their citizens in relation to bike transport. To observe if all the neighborhoods are equally adapted around the whole city of Graz, we went to the tourist office and asked for a map of the city with all the bike lanes in it.
We could observe that the neighborhoods that are closer to the city center are better prepared to cycle with a bike. The farther you go, the less bike lanes you find.
We also researched on the internet and we discovered a website where people can look for the bike lanes in Graz. You choose one point to start and then decide how long you want to bike. After that, the page shows you all the options available to follow with the bike. And, as you can see, it seems that you can use it everywhere. But, what people from Graz think?
Yeah, it's dangerous sometimes because there are a lot of streets, main streets, and you can't cross them. The bike line stops and you can cross them, so it's a problem.
I think that the city wants to have better bicycle infrastructure, but they're not willing to take away any space from the cars. So they build bicycle infrastructure wherever there's space for it, but they don't go beyond that point. So a lot of times we have in areas where there was some free space, they put a bike path there. And then all of a sudden there's a street where they don't have free space and then it ends.
Basically, because sometimes I think bike lanes just stop somewhere. So you are on the bike lane and suddenly it stops and you're next to the cars. So sometimes it's quite dangerous. But I think the city does a lot to improve that because many people take the bike in Graz, many students. So I'm not 100% there, but I think we will get there.
Do you think that Graz is a city with many adaptations for bikes, or do you think they are still insufficient?
I think there are already many, but I think there can be more. Yeah.
Okay. Like what, for example?
Like I thought of a bike highway, so like a lane above the cars where you could go by bike, so you're like basically not next to each other, but above each other. That would be great, I think.
All around the city.
If it works, I don't know if that works.
Well, our name is Move It. It's called Mobility and Transport in Transformation.
Move It, Mobility and Traffic in Transformation, is a non-partisan campaign of clubs, companies and citizens campaigning for a socially fair and ecologically sustainable mobility system in the Graz metropolitan area.
The focus is on changing public infrastructure on transportation. So we are a group that is connecting different groups who are fighting for different alternatives to the car. So we have groups that are for public transportation, for bicycling and for walking. And we created these 12 demands, what should change in the city of Graz in the next 10 years, so from 2020 to 2030, to make the city a more livable city for all the people. Graz has, it's the size of the city is fairly friendly for bicycling, so it's not, the distance is not that long, so there's a high potential for people to change to bicycling for the mode of transportation. And also in Graz, the reason why it is so important for us to change our transportation system is also not just the environmental impact on global warming, but also the local impact. Like, we're in a valley, so the air is really bad. And there's not a whole lot of wind, so we have a lot of fine particle matter pollution. But we have specific things. We are demanding that they build 10 kilometers of high quality bike lanes along all the main public roads. Space is there, but right now the cars use it. If we want to just promote bicycling, we just have to reallocate the space and just use lanes that right now are used for cars for bicyclists. It's not really that expensive, you just need paint.
After some months living in Graz, our opinion about the city have been reshaping all the time. We arrived thinking that Graz is a great city that facilitates the use of the bikes around it, a green city and full of fresh air. We finished the project thinking that, of course, it is better prepared than most cities from Spain, but it is true that it has a lot of things to improve in order to facilitate the citizens the using of it. We could say that the use of the bike comes from a cultural or traditional way of moving around the city. Maybe, with better infrastructures, there would be more people using it. But the fact is that there is a cultural point that has the most important part of it.